of the main things them when we realize, like we realize, say, Mission Food Possible focus on is like food insecurity, right? For the average person, they know of hunger, know of not having any food, they know of different type of sufferation. Like, in how you compile what food insecurity is, and as opposed to what food security really is, like without a whole dictionary sense of what they tell us what it is, so the average person can understand. You know, say a lot of people might be food insecure and not aware of it because they think it's about it from one standpoint. How would you kind of classify food insecurity in general?
So you see now, food insecurity for me is probably the more dangerous of all the conditions out there, because the food insecurity don't have a face, Atachi, right? And so to strictly define it, it's not having sufficient access to nutritious food, safe food, right? Or enough of that food. And that could be anybody. Right? So we are familiar with the extreme cases of starvation or the extreme cases of hunger, which we can see sometimes, and they show us the images in Northeast Africa, sometime in North Africa. But food insecurity hits closer to home. That could be our neighbor Atachi, that could be our co-worker, because anybody can be stricken with the condition of not having access to the food that they need to eat. So if you don't have enough food to eat, if you're finding that you're eating below what is recommended as your daily intake, you're food insecure. If you're eating unhealthy food, if you're eating a lot of food, let's say you have whole heap of food, but you're consuming canned products, for example, processed foods, right? We are insecure.
Exactly.
And
exactly. And the reason why I'm asking that, you know, because you know, you have majority of people, they just fast food and the price is presented to them without a substance towards the body, and they don't realize that they're food insecure, even though they have this in front of them and they might get a belly full now. They not realize the whole trap was set up for them, make them food insecure, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. So go ahead.
No, it's the next thing I want to throw in there that you brought up a great idea, is that the whole food desert concept goes into the food insecurity, because you have people who do eat. You get what I'm saying? But what they have access to is borderline criminal, because you have many people, depending on where you live in America, there is no produce there. Like facts. It's just canned goods and fast food, you know? So,
exactly. If you take areas like certain parts of Brooklyn and certain parts of Bronx, their only access to fresh produce is in a corner store, right? And the corner store, as you know, if you ever walk into a bodega, you know, so that's not the place you want to get your fruits and veggie from. You understand? And so a lot of people living in these areas don't have a green market or a farmer's market anywhere close to them. Those places, like those things, are restricted to certain communities. So if you look at food insecurity like that, you realize that even in a city like New York that is looked upon as doing well, you see the big skyscrapers, you see executives going to places and them suit and money are flow through the city. A lot of people are food insecure without knowing it, because the trick is you have plenty fast food places set up on corners to trick you, as you said, to manipulate your mind, tell you that you have a lot of food. But it depends. But depending on what you're eating, you're food insecure. If that's going to lead you to having a non-communicable disease like diabetes or cardiovascular disease, you are food insecure. It doesn't matter what kind of drill or car you drive.
Do you notice, or in your experience, is it hard to educate people in regards to the importance of what they put inside themselves? Because it seems like, as you said, people value more what's on their body more than what they put in their body and what's going on in their body.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's a big challenge, because first and foremost, a lot of people aren't even familiar with the term food insecurity. Right? Them know, you know, most people know when they feel hungry, right? And when you're hungry, you eat what's at hand, right? Or you're belly full, right? And so just the term food insecure has been a challenge, because you can't you can't fix a problem that people don't know that they have. All they know that is that we have increased rates in, nobody can doubt that, increased rates in diabetes, increased rates of cancer, increased rates of cardiovascular diseases, right? But nobody's really connecting it. I mean, you know, when I say nobody, I'm talking about the layman in our community. We're just willy-nilly just going about life, right? Without understanding what we're putting in our bodies. And so, yeah, that's a big challenge because the knowledge and the awareness is just not there. And they'll tell you all sorts of things. They'll tell you, you know, how can we be food insecure when, you know, every Friday I take my kids to McDonald's and we eat a belly full of meal, you know, a belly full of food.
It's
that,
funny.
Yeah.
No, continue.
Yeah, so, and the ignorance, right, is not just in the USA, it's in the Caribbean as well, where you would think that we would be more aware of eating nutritious food and what we should be eating. But let me tell you, Atachi, it's like we are straying more and more from our culinary and cultural identity, right, in the Caribbean. And so even now, when I try to implement Mission Food Possible in certain places, they'll say to you, well, no, there's no food insecurity here because we have, you might have a lot of mango trees in a particular area, right? And they'll say, well, if I'm hungry, I just eat mango and go to bed, right? Well, while mangoes are healthy for you, if you're feeding your school-age children per mango day and night, right, then that also constitutes as food insecurity. So we meet up on a lot of myths and a lot of misconceptions about what hunger and food insecurity is right throughout the journey.
Yeah, I you know, recently I realized that because the Empress was doing a capstone and it was talking about food insecurity, but in schools, like mostly in CUNY and things like. And then I realized that this thing really affect a lot of students. So imagine how much impact food insecurity have on how children process things at school. Any student at all, from children from the smallest to the highest age. Just imagine the impact that food insecurity might have on the way they learn, the way they process things, the way they are transitioning to the workplace. And majority of people are ignorant about that.
Exactly. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, and what we need to remember, I can speak about American school systems. For the most part, the same company that provides food for the prison, they have the same contract for the schools.
Yes.
And the school, the what they receive is not balanced at all. And even the time they get it, because, you know, if you're at a school that's like from middle school to the seniors have lunch at like 10:30. You get what I'm saying? So you eating the trash. Our breakfast is sugar, lunch is trash. Then you're in zombie mode by noon. So ain't really too much focus of learning going on for the duration of the day, you know?
Exactly. And I love what you just said, you said, a lot of sugar to start the day. And then for some part of the day, you're in a zombie mode. If you think about what that looks like physically on a child, our children are being diagnosed as hyperactive, having ADD, ADHD. And a lot of these are incorrectly diagnosed, right? It's because the children are reflecting what they're putting inside their bodies, either the type of food or the lack of food. A child can't focus if they're hungry, or a child can't focus with the wrong type of food in their system, right? And so, yeah, it's a big problem from every level of education. And we're seeing it now. People are paying attention to college campuses around the country and in Jamaica. The Reggae Chefs just did a demonstration for UTech, right? The new school year. And I'm not sure if this has been done before, but the fact that we're looking at college students who, because of coronavirus, might have less money to spend on food. That's a big deal, That's a big deal. Yeah.
Well, let me hear you say,